Hi, I'm Gwen coming to you from the gun store in Las Vegas, where we are teaching a CCW class. You're watching Fired Up with Bob Irwin.
Hey, thank you for tuning in to Fired Up. I'm Bob Irwin, your host for the show, coming to you from the gun store here in Las Vegas. This program is about guns, politics, and related self-defense issues. On this panel, we're going to talk about two cases. The aftermath of an attempted robbery in Dayton, Ohio, which got very emotionally involved, and a little bit about presidential candidate, perhaps Hillary Clinton, and how she feels about gun owners in general. This first case is a pretty vanilla armed robbery that the individual who was being robbed was able to thwart the robbery. He owns a clothing store. In the middle of the day, two young men came in wearing masks, one of them with a gun. He saw them as they entered the store. He was able to draw his own gun and fire at them in order to defend his life. He killed one, the other fled into the evening. Pretty plain, common, everyday attempted armed robbery we see all across the country.
Yeah, that sounds like the shooting itself was fine. It's a lawful self-defense case, clearly within the bounds of the law in Ohio. There would be no grounds for a civil wrongful death suit, except for the case that in America you can sue anybody anytime for anything.
Well, this looks like another one of those cases where the family members, tend to. When you're forced into defending your life, the family members of the deceased or the bad guy or whoever, obviously, they feel differently on the subject, and they kind of tend to think that you're overreacting to the threat, even though it is completely justified and that you did save your own life. There will always be naysayers and people that want to question the validity of the lawful shooting.
Yeah, and the reaction that the family's having isn't unexpected at all in these cases, and it's amplified by the fact that the young man who was killed, who was actually holding the weapon that he was using to commit this robbery, was only 16 years old. So, no parent should ever have to deal with the fact that their child was engaged in some sort of behavior or a set of circumstances that resulted in his death that apparently was a justifiable death. They want to know. We always tell victims, don't be a hero, just give them the money and let them go. And they want to know how come this man didn't do that in this case.
And because of all that, the family is now demanding an investigation. Now, the 16-year-old that was shot is no stranger to the criminal system. He's been there many times. But that, once he was shot, that is completely forgotten, and his past deeds are forgiven. And now the family's trying to make him out to be this angel that was gunned down by a store owner.
In this case, as everybody's saying, the store owner didn't do anything wrong, but the family, of course, you cannot justify to them why their 16-year-old son is dead. And they're demanding this and that from the police, and they want to see the videotapes of this and that. And the police reviewed all that stuff. The reason I brought this up, I saw a very similar case here several years ago. A fellow that owned a small store not far from my store currently, and he had a robbery. He fired at the robber that ran away, and he later came up to the store and we gave him some training on not to shoot at fleeing criminals because the kid saw his gun and just ran. Later, a second robber came in several months later. Took the guy's wife at gunpoint to her head, was walking her to the back of the store. The husband there saw that coming, pulled a pistol, and as the man came down the hall holding his wife, he fired at him with a .40 caliber Glock and killed him. And that resulted in this same type of thing. The family and the friends of this dead kid, who was also 16 or 17, I think, vandalized his store, made threats and smashed his car, and all sorts of things happened to him, till he finally had to close his store and move and just shut it down because he couldn't operate it anymore. It's a problem.
Yeah, and I remember that case you're talking about, Bob, because in the first incident, when the kid was fleeing, that clearly wasn't a use of deadly force situation, because the threat was no longer there. I mean, the threat was leaving, and you don't have a right to shoot somebody. In the second case, when your wife has got a gun to her head, you don't hesitate, because you never know when that gun's going to go off. I've seen so many cases where the minute that threat is presented to a person, you don't have time to react, and you're going to lose somebody. So you have to react right away. Going back to the CCW training that you get at your store and any other CCW training, that clear and present and immediate threat has to be dealt with, because you don't know what's going to happen if you delay your response.
And going back to this incident here in Dayton, okay, so they're 16-year-olds, but they're wearing masks, and again, you don't know, you can't tell they're 16. They could be large for their size, or you know, look older, and with a mask, you can't tell how old they are. And even if he is only 16, a 16-year-old with a gun can pull the trigger just as quick as a 60-year-old with a gun.
Yeah, nobody's saying the store owner did anything wrong. It's just, how do you cope with the aftermath and try and explain to the family why their son died? You know, I mean, he was a pretty good criminal, but we have the same stories of he was turning his life around, he was going to become a rap singer after he got kicked out of school and so on. And they're trying to make him into something that he's not, but you're never going to convince the mother that her son deserved to die. And I can see the store owner eventually having to pick up and move, because you just can't live in the neighborhood anymore. It's a reason to try not to do that. If you don't have to fire to save your life in immediate, there's lots of aftermaths to shootings.
Our panel discussion will continue right after this. Hi, it's Emily, and I'm coming to you from the Shotgun Wedding Chapel here at the Gun Store in Las Vegas, where you can book your shotgun wedding ceremony, vow renewal, or commitment ceremony. You're watching Fired Up with Bob Irwin.
And we are back here on Fired Up. The presumed presidential candidate from the Democratic Party at this moment is Hillary Clinton. And she had some interesting things to say about gun owners in a recent interview on CNN, which I thought we should probably talk about.
Yes, during this interview on CNN, an audience member asked her what she believed about implementing the ban on assault weapons, if that would somehow be an effective gun control measure, if restricting the standard size magazines and these assault weapons, if it would actually be, you know, effective gun control. Yeah, just a question. It'd be a good thing.
And she explained that she thought that such measures would be good and helpful, good for our country. And as far as those people who advocate the Second Amendment, which is, in her opinion, a minority, and I want to quote this exactly, she said that we cannot let a minority of people, and that's what it is a minority of people, hold a viewpoint that terrorizes the majority of people.
Well, would you quit terrorizing the majority? What is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm. And you know, it amazes me that, and I want to make sure that we have this quote right, because I don't want to misquote her Hillary-ness. We cannot let a minority of people, and that's what it is, a minority of people, hold a viewpoint that terrorizes the majority of people. What?
Yeah, so evidently Hillary's idea of thoughtful conversation about gun control involves equating disagreement with terrorism. And by declaring that viewpoints can be so dangerous as we cannot allow people to have their own viewpoints or their own opinions, that's just bad.
I wonder how she's going to stop people from thinking that, you know, the assault weapons are not the problem, that it's actually the bad guys. I mean, she believes that the citizens terrorize others by holding the thought that criminals are the ones who really are the problem. It's not the gun owners, it's not the gun itself. It's the malicious intent behind the firearm.
Hillary is obviously confusing gun control and crime control. Pretty common on the left side of this. Controlling criminals is actually a solution to crime. Her thoughts about guns are terrorizing me. How can...
Well, let's not lose sight of the fact that she is really, what she's saying is anyone who espouses provisions and protections guaranteed to all of us by the Constitution, that makes you a minority in this case. I mean, a minority that uses the Constitution of the United States to terrorize the rest of us.
The Constitution
What an
represents
a-hole.
minority.
Well, the other thing, but with Hillary, is she has no concept of the difference, and this is back going on her little speech, has no idea of the difference between a semi-automatic weapon and a full automatic weapon, and she equates one as the other. Probably give her a 6-shooter, and she would call it an automatic weapon if it was a double action.
And you know, this takes us back to probably one of the oldest bumper stickers that we've ever seen. It's, you know, the old adage, guns don't kill people, people kill people. And she's taken it to such an extreme measure here, you know, trying to use the Constitution for her own personal beliefs that, I mean, at what point do the thought police come into play here?
Well,
You know?
the point is, if you have a modern military rifle, you are terrorizing the other people in the country, and you shouldn't be allowed to think about having a I don't get where it goes. It's the thought that's the problem, and not the gun is the problem, but in her little speech, it's the thinking about guns.
Yeah, I don't think you even have to own the rifle. If you think about it and say, you know, to your wife, maybe for my birthday next year, I'd like a sporting rifle. Just the thought of owning one is terrorizing the rest of the country.
Well, the logo on the gun store is an emblematic. It's emblematic of terrorism. Is that it?
That's weird.
Is that it?
That was our failed slogan for the company. That's weird. Yeah, no, that one didn't take.
That was our actual
Yeah, we
slogan.
were
We
trying
be
to
we be terrorizing you.
Yep.
Well, that's so funny because there was actually a movement on the left side recently. I didn't bring any data on it, but where they have no gun signs and they have the picture of a gun with a red line through it. Some on the left think that's scaring children. There shouldn't be the picture of the gun there. They should write no guns and put a line through it, or guns and put a line through it, because little children just see a picture of a gun, and that article also said they're terrorized.
You know,
So-
that reminds me, my better half has a great saying, you can't fix stupid. You know, and that, maybe she's talking about me, but I think it applies in this
No, I think she's talking about Hillary.
Yeah, that could be, that could be.
Well, this is incredibly insane, and in all seriousness, we can make a lot of jokes about this, but someone who is running for president of the United States, this is a worse statement than even Barack Obama has ever made. I mean, he hates guns. He never said the thought of guns is terrorizing the whole country. He probably will now. Maybe he'll steal it. But someone like this, with that belief, becoming president is terrifying.
And it's not like she doesn't have any political background, you know, I mean, she's held some pretty high offices, so, I mean, this almost sounds like a neophyte trying to break into the, you know, the political scene, and she's absolutely not that.
This is really scary. There have been some suggestions when the Democrats get toward their convention that everybody that's a Republican change your party to a Democrat, vote for Joe Biden, because we know he's a gun guy, old double-barrel Joe, and then after they have him running for president, then we'll change our party back to Republican. It's just a thought.
That's an awful lot of work.
Hi, I'm Greg, and welcome to the Gun Store in Las Vegas. Here at the Gun Store, we're here to help you, where we have a huge selection of firearms. When you're in Las Vegas, stop by and see us. Guns, politics, and self-defense. That's Fired Up with Bob Irwin.
Hey, welcome back here to the Big Sandy Shoot. The one thing that a lot of folks don't realize is that every year at the Big Sandy Shoot, they have a gun show in addition to all of the shooting expo and display. And I'm here with Nathan Akers. He has an interesting new magazine that's coming out, a high-capacity magazine. I think we can safely say this is a high-capacity magazine,
Yes,
right, Nathan?
absolutely.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you built there?
So this is our X15 drum magazine. So it's a 50-round drum magazine that is built off of a similar platform to the old G8 drum magazine. So we took that, redesigned it, made it something that was a little bit better, more modern, and now, again, it came into different models outside of it. This is the AR-15 model, so 50-round drum magazine, all aluminum, Cerakoted inside and outside. And then the hand wheel is built in, so there's no external loading mechanisms needed. So pretty simple design, about 1 inch to 2 inches shorter than a 30-round stick mag, and just perfectly balanced. So it's something that that is, again, an updated version of what some of us out there for the drum magazine industry right now.
Now, I know some of the problems I've had in the past with high-capacity drum magazines is the spring pressure can cause some issues when seating the magazine or cycling the first round. How have you fixed that problem?
So what we ended up doing for that, we have a patent pending on a tension relief device, or a flipper that we call it. It basically, as you, and this is again for simple loading, it would just essentially spin the hand wheel, drop a round in or 2 rounds in at a time, letting it seat up against the rigid feed lip. And then what the tension relief device does is it actually depresses the rounds that are below the top round. So you still get a little bit of play on that top round. So even when it's fully loaded and fully tensioned, you're still able to have the bolt strip and reload across efficiently.
Well, that really looks like a neat program, and it's all machined, it's all aluminum.
Yep.
So you would expect a good long lifespan out of these magazines, wouldn't you?
Yeah, so actually this comes with a lifetime warranty. Everything's built in the United States. Every part is built in the United States. This is a 100% backed product, and again, lifetime warranty. We take care of shipping both ways, so it's something you can depend on, reliable, and that we stand 100% behind.
So here's the big question, Nathan. How do our viewers get your product into their guns?
So we sell them on our website from xproducts.com, and then we also have a dealer and distributor network. So we sell through Brunel's, we sell through Cabela's, we sell through a bunch of other larger online retailers, and then we do have a dealer network of local dealers throughout the United States. So gun stores you can go in or directly from our site.
Oh, well, that sounds great.
Hi, I'm Mason, coming to you from one of the VIP ranges here at the gun store in Las Vegas. And you're watching Fired Up with Bob Irwin.
Hi, this is Tony with the gun store in Las Vegas. Here we are at the Big Sandy Shoot. And one of our guns that we're going to be shooting today is the M249 SAW. Now the M249 SAW is a standard issue weapon for our armed forces. They're made in Belgium by FN. The original ones were called the Mini-Me. This is a shortened version of that same basic gun with a collapsible stock and a short barrel. We put a 200-round belt pack on it, and again we adapted this one to the 249 or the MG34 mount. Very, very convenient gun, very nice gun. Shoots from an open bolt, belt fed, and this one here also takes M16 magazine, so you can shoot it either way. Adjustable gas on the barrel on this particular one, and it shoots about 550 to 700 rounds a minute depending on the ammunition, and it's very, very reliable. You see our guys carrying them in Afghanistan and Iraq. The barrels are they come off quite easily. We're replacing, and when they get hot, you just slap another barrel on and you're ready to go. This one here is, we got EOTech holographic sight on it, collapsible butt, and like I said, we have it mounted on a tripod for airplanes and dynamites. And when we go live fire, we're going to shoot this one too. All right, we're going to go hot with the 249. See the links? All you have to do is lay the link on top of the belt of the feed tray. Bolt is already back. We have the holographic sight on it. This is a very, very pleasant, easy gun to shoot. We're going to do some slow bursts and then we'll have at it. out there with no problem at all. Very fun gun to shoot. Actually got 2 airplanes today with it, so we're having a good time out here.
You're watching Fired Up with Bob Irwin, coming to you from the gun store in Las Vegas.